Good morning and welcome to Flannel Hill Farm. We are up in the attic. I don't know if you can tell where we are, but we need some end walls. So this is our gable end wall, but this is only about 1.5, 2 inches of foam board insulation. So which is like R7 or something. So in order to get a better R value and more insulation on these end walls, we are going to be putting up another end wall. It's basically just a structure to hold insulation. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a base down. In the event that we want to put, like, cut out here and put a AC unit or something, we will have the base for that. So we're going to put our base down, and then we're going to put 2x4s up on that base in the middle of these existing 2x4s. So that is what we're doing. This other side is all measured out and done. I just started on this side, so let me see if I can show you. I just swept up all the insulation that I cut, so it's very dusty, making me want to sneeze. So this is what that structure is going to look like, and because this is only a 2x4 on its side, and then there's siding on the back side, we are actually going to L bracket these 2x4s together, so that we're not trying to go through and then end up puncturing the siding. Oh, I should just sneeze. So that's the idea there. I don't know what his plan is for what he's gonna put in there. I know that we have some of this R19 insulation here that was extra, I believe. So Big K had the idea to put some insulation here to keep the wood stove and the cool air from just like rushing up here. And there is gonna be wood on the ceiling, but wood isn't a very good insulator. So, especially thin, like 1/2-inch wood. So we put some insulation there to keep it from just rushing up here and this being super hot. So there's more of that that's gonna go in all of these, I believe. And then we have some extra because in order to buy them, he had to special order them. And in order to special order them, he had to get a whole pallet, which was 4 of those bags. And we didn't really need 4 of those bags, but because we need extra insulation over here, we will use them. So I need to decide what I'm doing here. I do not want to put a stud between 2 boards, so I'm going to have to move that board down more. And then I'll have to cut another 2x4 to fill this in. And then I will nail it to the 2x6 underneath. So, oh, this dust is really getting to me. There we go. Okay. That's better. I like that a lot better. See now how this will fall on its own board. Perfect. So, I think I'm going to nail that one in. It'll make measuring a lot easier. Especially up here by myself. Big K didn't sleep very well last night, so he's sleeping. I had nails. Where'd I put my nails? Oh, here they are. Got 'em. Okay, so these that I'm using are 3-inch nail gun nails, and you just break them apart and then you get 3-inch nails. And we have 3-inch nails somewhere, but these were up here and available, so I'm just breaking them off and using them because I didn't want to go searching. And like, I know where they are, but I didn't want to go get them. So we got that going. Other than that, we made a jig to cut our soffit, and I would be able to show you that a lot easier if that workbench wasn't covered. But as always, Flannel Hill Farm has a lot going on all the time, so we're working on it. It's a work in progress. So this is one of the big projects. Cutting the soffit and putting it up is a big project. I gotta hook the inbound water together. That's something we're both kind of nervous about because we have one water shut off. And so when we shut it off, it's gonna shut water off to the hydrant, which is gonna shut water off to the camper. But it's also gonna shut off the water that comes to the house. So that's all fine and dandy, but then it's also going to, when I turn it back on to turn water onto the camper, it's gonna turn water onto the house, and we don't have fixtures in yet, but we did that well. Let me show you what we did. So I had this idea that we needed to put a main shut off like in here. I didn't want to have to run outside and shut it off at the meter. So I wanted a main shut off in the house, and then we had a pressure problem. So I think what happened is we had a certain pressure in our water, and then some things happened kind of around town, and so I think that, like, people weren't getting a good pressure anymore because they had some broken pipes, and so the company got all these complaints, so they turned up the pressure. Well, for those of us that didn't have problems, it blew out soaker hoses and it blew out all kinds of things. It actually, the camper sink, the faucet, actually just blew off the sink. It was pretty bad. Luckily, Big K was here for that, and he fixed that, but that was a while ago. But I now, on the hydrant, have a pressure regulator so that the hoses and the camper and all of that, we regulate the pressure. And that seemed to be working really, really well. Well, the house won't run off of the hydrant. So what I did was up here, let me get you positioned so you can see better. There we go. So this is inbound. It's coming in over here, and we have a main shut off valve. So this you can shut on and off. It's just a regular ball valve. And then that runs into our pressure regulator, which is easily adjustable. It's got a gauge. And then after that, it'll go into the house. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, Brittany, when you turn on the main water outside, how are you going to make sure that the pressure's right before the thing if the ball valve is before the pressure regulator? And you're right. 100%. I could put another ball valve on, but I don't think we'll need to. I think we'll be okay. The pressure, the water pressure reads pretty quickly. So if we just turn it on, we can adjust that pressure pretty quick, and I don't think we're gonna have a problem. But the idea was if the regulator ever goes bad, I wanted that ball valve in front of it so that we could shut it off and redo the regulator. There is also enough hose on this side There is also enough hose on this side of this board that we could put a filter, another ball valve, whatever we wanted. That wouldn't be a big deal. But we have also talked about putting shutoffs in front of all of the inbound water to each fixture. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities to shut water off before fixtures and before fittings and before gauges and whatever. So we are doing everything we can, and we're kind of overdoing things, but I think we're overdoing things to make life easier at some point. Because if a fitting blows, that's not a good day. So we're trying to think ahead and think of like worst case scenarios. Think of things that have happened to us before and we wish we would have had something there. Also, Big K is working on gas pipe. So we are he's going to run gas to the stove. The stove, I believe, the range is the only thing that's going to be gas at the moment. We want to have gas run in case we want to do like a gas dryer or something like that, but I don't know if he's going to actually run the pipe to the dryer or if he'll just leave it with a capped T just in case. But definitely to the stove, because I am not having another electric stove. Not a fan. So that's what we're doing. This is all gonna end up being like storage, so that'll be pretty easy. And we put up a pulley. I think I showed you guys our pulley, but that little black thing that's hanging right there above the stairs, that's a pulley, so we can attach stuff and just pulley it up. It's pretty slick. It's fun. KK and Kona have both attempted to get up here, and these are just attic stairs that come up here. So that's fun. Luckily, they haven't gotten all the way up here because I don't know how we'd get them down. Like, I think the two of them could probably climb a ladder, but I don't know how we'd get them down. So, probably have to use the pulley somehow. And then they'd be like repelling military dogs or something. So, yeah. I'm gonna try and nail this in without tipping you guys over. And you can kind of see what we're doing here. So I would like to publicly say that while I'm very not into talking about insulation anymore, this house is pretty well insulated. Good job, Big K. Good job. It's really hard for me to say because I complained about insulation for a long time, and I'm still gonna complain about it because I'm so over it, but he was right. So that's all I have to say on that subject. That's it. That's all I want to say. Nice. Always more nails than necessary. Always, always, always. This board is a little warped, so I'm gonna go back and try. That, which we did. So the goal of this bottom plate is to make sure that whatever you put on these studs or the studs themselves aren't pushing on that one little spot. So you're taking the weight and you're making it go from this to this distance, and so it evens out the weight and it just helps the plywood and the 2x6 underneath it. It distributes. Dogs are playing. So that's why we're putting this down. Plus, just structurally, it's a little better in case we want to do something besides just a vessel for insulation. So, yeah. Now what I'll do is I'll take another 2x4. I'll have to measure from this 2x4 to the end. We'll cut it, we'll nail it down, and then from there we can actually take measurements from the 2x4 that's laying down to the ceiling. .82 3/4, and we can cut those and get those lined up, ready to go, and then when those L brackets come in, we can just start putting them up, and then he can put his insulation up, and then our end walls are built. So we got our 2x4s up here ready to go. We got a saw up here ready to go, and I should probably check my ego and not use the saw without Big K around. So I think I'm going to head downstairs and figure out what the dogs are doing, because that'll keep me out of trouble. Right, Poochin? Oh yeah, see how much darker it gets up here with that insulation in there? So dark. However, we have an outlet to plug in. Isn't that cool? So that's exciting. So the only room that doesn't have outlets is this one and both bathrooms, because the bathrooms need the, I always miss a letter, GCFI outlet, and we went to get some and evidently somehow ended up without them. I don't know, but it happened. So that's what we're doing. And this here, if I can show you this without it getting weird, this is our jig. So we will slide our soffit through here, and then you can see the cut. The saw actually sits on here and glides through, and we will cut all that soffit. So that's our soffit jig, and this is the soffit, and we really want to get it out of here because right now the dogs are stepping on it, and it's, you know, so. What are you guys doing? Yeah, I figured that island was going to be a racetrack, because this is really where the island's going to go. And I figured that was going to be a problem. Unbelievable. It's okay. Only about 8 more months, apparently. 18 months, and they're supposed to stop growing and maybe start slowing down. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath, but, you know, we'll see. Well, thank you all, really, for sticking around with me and being patient with me. And this is, it's been a slow, rough couple of years, but we're getting through this and things are happening. So on your way back down the hill, if you wouldn't mind liking, sharing, subscribing, hitting that little bell notification button thing down there, please remember, we appreciate y'all. Who needs balls and bones? You got siblings. I appreciate y'all.